In the beginning there was silence, vast, cold, infinite. From the stillness, a whisper rose, a tremor of gravity weaving through the dark. Dust gathered, gas folded upon itself, and then, light. From dust and fire I was born. My breath ignited the void, and around me the remains of chaos began to dance. The disk of my birth swirled with promise, billions of particles colliding, merging, becoming. In the golden storm, the notes of a cosmic melody were written. The heavy thrum of the inner worlds, the deep hum of the outer giants, and the soft harmonies of moons yet unborn. One by one they took their places, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, each carrying a note of my eternal song. And so the symphony began. I am the closest to the fire, and yet I hold no warmth. I forged this first world from stone and silence, a child born too near to my burning heart. Here the sun is a titan, fierce, unrelenting, its light carving the surface into scars of gold and shadow. No air softens its voice. No winds carry its whispers. Only stillness and the echo of impact after impact. For even creation must bear the memory of collision. Mercury does not breathe. Its sky is a void, a stage for eternal day and eternal night. On one side, the heat of molten flame. On the other, the cold of forgotten space. It knows both extremes yet feels neither. The perfect silence of a world too near the source to survive its touch. In Mercury, my music begins, a single strike upon the cosmic drum. Sharp, bright, metallic, the rhythm of birth. The first note in the grand Symphony of Worlds. I once might have been like Earth, but love turned to fire. I remember when this world shimmered with promise. A twin to harmony, bathed in soft light, clothed in clouds of gold. But beauty can burn. Desire can consume. The warmth I gave became her fever. She held it close, unwilling to let go. Layer upon layer, her sky thickened. The mirror of life turned into a veil of acid and flame. Beneath it, the ground trembles. The air itself crushes, 100 times heavier than Earth's gentle breath. Her mountains glow with rivers of molten stone. Her winds scream faster than sound, carrying lightning across sulfur skies. Once she could have sung with oceans. Now she weeps acid tears into a world too hot for life. Venus is the sorrow of the symphony, a waltz turned into a requiem. She dances still in slow, eternal motion. Backwards to the others, wrapped in her shimmering despair. Even in her fury, she remembers beauty. The note she plays is not of rage, but of memory. A song of what love can do when it burns too long. I am the note of balance, between chaos and calm. From the storms of creation, I shaped a world that learned to breathe. Oceans rose where fire once ruled. Air thickened into song. Life, fragile, defiant, took root in the silence and began to whisper my name. Here the elements found peace. The oceans move in rhythm with the moon. Winds trace the heartbeat of the sun. And forests exhale the breath that keeps the melody alive. I have seen continents drift like slow-moving chords. Mountain ranges rise like crescendos of stone, and rivers carve the soft refrain of time. On this world, my music became intricate. Every creature, every leaf, every drop of rain, another note in the grand score of life. Yet one voice grew louder than the rest. One mind that learned to listen, to dream, to question. Humanity. The briefest melody, yet the most powerful. A spark of consciousness that turned to wonder and fire. Building, breaking, creating beauty and noise in equal measure. Through them I began to hear myself. They looked to the stars and I felt their longing. They searched for meaning in the same light that birthed them. Humanity is my echo. A fleeting note that rises, burns and fades, but leaves harmony behind. On Earth I learned balance. On Earth I learned grace. The music here does not roar, it breathes. I remember rivers. I remember rain. Once this world sang softly beneath a warmer sun. Oceans shimmered in valleys now filled with dust. Winds carried clouds that danced across a living sky. I remember the rhythm of water. The pulse of lakes, the hum of storms that once carved its crimson plains. But time is a patient sculptor. It took her oceans and left only memory. It stole her voice, leaving behind the dry echo of what once was song. Now Mars breathes and whispers. A cold desert wrapped in the red dust of remembrance. Her mountains are the frozen chords of ancient symphonies. Her canyons, the empty staves where music once flowed. Yet still I send her visitors, small wanderers of metal and mind, searching for traces of her lost melody. They crawl across her surface, their wheels pressing faint rhythms into her silent skin. Through them I listen again. I listen for water beneath her crust, for fossils of the music she once played. Mars is the pause in my symphony, the space between what was and what could be. She is not dead, only quiet, waiting for the next note. I am the heartbeat of giants, the drum that never stops. Here my voice grows thunderous. The calm of silence breaks into rhythm, and gravity itself begins to sing. Jupiter, the vast guardian of my realm. A world not of earth or sea but of motion. Endless clouds twisting upon themselves, storms folding into storms, lightning flashing like the pulse of creation itself. I forged him from gas and fury, the keeper of balance, the great drum that steadies the dance of the outer worlds. His heart is pressure and wind, a tempest so immense it could swallow earth whole, yet it never ends, never rests. The great red spot, a storm older than your civilizations, spinning for centuries in a waltz of power and silence. He does not speak, he resounds. His music, his rhythm, rotation. Around him, his moons circle like instruments tuned to his will. Io, the burning violin. Europa, the frozen harp. Ganymede and Callisto, the deep bass of ancient ice. Together they move in perfect resonance, a celestial orchestra bound to his colossal beat. Jupiter is the pulse of my symphony. Through him I remember that power need not destroy to be eternal. It simply moves forever without rest, like the breath of the cosmos itself. I wear my years as rings of memory. Of all my children, Saturn is the most graceful, the quiet dancer of the void, spinning not in haste but in elegance. Around him I wove ribbons of light and shadow, arcs of frozen dust, shards of forgotten moons, the remains of what once was whole. They circle him endlessly, shimmering with the pale glow of the distant sun. A celestial waltz of beauty and decay. Each ring a story, each fracture a memory. They sing softly when the light touches them, scattering gold and silver into the dark. But even beauty has its hour. The rings fade grain by grain, falling slowly into the embrace of time. One day they will vanish, their song absorbed into silence, leaving Saturn bare like an old dancer after the final note. Yet in this moment he is perfect, the poet of the cosmos. His melody gentle, eternal, aware of its impermanence. Through him I remember that all grandeur is temporary, and that the fleeting can be more beautiful than the eternal. I spin in defiance, sideways, silent, strange. Among my children, Uranus is the quiet rebel, the one who turned upon his side and whispered, "I will dance differently," while others spin upright in the rhythm I set. He drifts, serene with his poles facing the sun, his seasons long and dreamlike, each day a twilight, each year a slow rotation of blue. His skin is pale, a veil of frozen methane. Beneath it, layers of ice and mystery. A world that hums softly in the dark, so distant that light reaches him as a memory. I do not correct him, for even dissonance has its place in a symphony. His tilt is not a mistake, it is a choice of motion. His silence, a kind of music. In him I see the courage of difference, the quiet strength to turn away from the expected, and still belong to the harmony of the whole. Uranus reminds me that the cosmos too must learn to bend. That beauty lives not only in pattern but in deviation. I am the final breath of the solar song. Beyond the warmth and whispers of my nearer worlds, I exhale into the dark, and Neptune is my sigh, the last of the giants, the farthest echo of my voice before it fades into silence. His skin is deep sapphire, his heart frozen and wild. Winds faster than sound chase one another across his endless plains, sculpting storms that rise and vanish in moments, as if even the air itself longs to escape his pull. He is motion at the edge of stillness, the frontier where light grows faint, and gravity loosens its grasp on warmth. I gave him power but no peace. His tempests are not rage, they are endurance. They dance in the absence of sound, swirling through ice and darkness, tracing the outer rim of my domain. Here the music quickens, a fugue of wind and water, played faster, louder, then dissolving into quiet. Neptune is the breath I take before silence, the last vibration before the void. He is my ending and my threshold. I was once called a planet, now I am a memory. At the farthest edge of my light drifts a small, quiet world, too faint to command, too distant to forget. Pluto, the ghost of my outer song. When I was young, I named him among the planets, a child of ice and solitude, circling in the twilight beyond Neptune's reach. For a time, he shone with the dignity of his title. But as understanding deepened, the others called him small, called him less. They stripped away his crown and placed him among the wanderers, neither giant nor true planet, but something in between, a dream adrift in the dark. Yet I remember him. His heart still beats, frozen nitrogen plains that shimmer like glass, mountains of ice rising beneath a pale orange sky, a surface etched with frost and forgotten grace. Even from this distance, the sun still touches him. A faint ember, a whisper of warmth that refuses to die. He is my memory of what once was, the echo of youth, the softness of endings. And though his orbit is lonely and long, I still hear him, the smallest voice, the gentlest rhythm, reminding me that in this vast silence, even the faintest note matters. Even the smallest world carries a song. Each world plays its part, each orbit a rhythm. Together, a symphony written in light and gravity. From silence I was born, from chaos I composed, and through time, my worlds have become my instruments, each one carrying a piece of my song. Mercury, the sharp beginning, pure, bright, unyielding. Venus, the lament of beauty consumed by her own fire. Earth, the harmony that breathes between storm and stillness. Mars, the echo of a melody remembered in dust. Jupiter, the thunder that steadies my heart. Saturn, the waltz of memory and time. Uranus, the tilted note, strange, serene, necessary. Neptune, the final breath before silence. And Pluto, my forgotten refrain, the smallest voice that still dares to sing. Now they turn together, a choir of motion, a ballet of distance and desire. Their music is not heard but felt, written in orbits, in tides, in the pull of unseen forces. This is my masterpiece, a song without beginning or end, a rhythm that echoes through eternity. When the last light fades, when the last orbit slows, my melody will remain, a pulse in the dark, the heartbeat of a star remembering itself. For even when all falls silent, the music of creation never truly ends.